I'm bringing Lindsay back, and she's gonna bring us home with dessert. And I have to say that I have made this, I've made this dessert. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've made it like probably 8 times in the last 3 weeks. I've made it for my clients. I made it for us. I made it for my neighbors. It is crazy good, and it's incredibly easy. And I said this to Lindsay like 3 or 4 times. Really, a cup of sugar with, oh my God. But you literally need to use the sugar. And it ends up making this incredible syrupy, peachy amazingness. And I did it. I also did it with nectarines. I did it with cherries. I did 1 cherry, and I texted her, and she's like, "Oh my God, cherries!" And you can even add nuts to it. I've done like some pecans and nuts, and so she's going to tell you a little bit more about it. But I would highly encourage you to try this recipe because it's just divine.
Right. Thank you. Hello again. All right. So for those of you who are following along in the kitchen, all right, I'm going to bring back my ingredients. So what I have done, because this is the Food Network, I've pre-mixed the dry ingredients, which is flour, salt, baking powder, sugar, and I put them together in a bowl. So I'm going to just put that over here. I've measured out the buttermilk, and again, if you don't have buttermilk or you can't find it, 'cause sometimes it's hard to find, you can use regular whole milk. Another option would be kefir, or I think I'm pronouncing it right. It's like a Middle Eastern yogurt drink. I've used that as well. So I'm going to set those aside, and here we go. So this is a farmer's market peach, which is akin to a like Costco chicken. It's just huge. So we're gonna go ahead and peel it. I prefer these peelers over the typical, like the longer, thin potato peelers that are made of stainless steel a lot of times. These just, it's more surface space, so everything takes less time with these guys. And you don't have to get every last piece of skin off. Having some of it on is, you know, it makes it look a little more rustic. All right, so I'm just going around peeling off some of the skin, most of the skin. Okie dokie. So I just use a knife to cut the peach pieces, or nectarine if you're using nectarine. You could be really precise and, you know, cut the peach in half and make everything the same size, which is what we learned in culinary school and what you should be doing. But again, I feel like some of the uneven shapes just make it more like homemade looking, and it's just kind of fun. This one's too big, so I'll cut that. So see guys, I still have, like on this piece, there's a little skin on it. It's fine. So obviously we're going to need to take the pit out. And then just finish chopping the rest. Any pieces that are huge, just cut them in half. It's fine. Again, gives it that rustic feel and look. Okay. So we need 1 1/4 cup of fruit. So we'll just measure that out. I'm going to put it in a bowl. So there's a few extra pieces, so I'll just sneak a little. You can't beat peaches in the summertime. It's just the best thing ever.
Oh, so we have a question. Do you
Sure.
ever peel your fruit by sticking them in boiling water for a few minutes to loosen the skin?
We did that actually with tomatoes in culinary school, but I don't do that with fruit.
Okay.
But I mean, by all means, whatever works. So I've got a cup of sugar in here. I've got 1 1/4 cup of peaches. I have 2½ tablespoons of water.
Is that your pie?
That's my tomato pie. All right, so I'm going to stir all of this up. You just want to combine everything. All right. So now over here, I've got the pan that I'm using, and this one is circular. You can use square. Make sure it's, I would say 2 inches deep. This is probably 1.5 inches, and if it's 1.5 inches, that's fine, but just make sure that you put it atop a cookie sheet lined with foil, just in case there is a little spillage. All right, so now I'm going to add the buttermilk to the dry ingredients. The dry ingredients, again, were the flour, the other cup of sugar, the baking powder, and the salt.
I have a question. What if you don't have buttermilk?
Again, you can always use whole milk. You can substitute with kefir, which is a Middle Eastern yogurt drink. I mean, you could probably even use 2.5% or 2% milk. You could even use 50/50. I think you'd be just fine. I wouldn't use skim milk, just because skim milk is kind of gross. But yeah.
Well, you probably need a little fat, right?
Yeah, you need the fat. All right, so I'm stirring this together, and it forms kind of, it's like a dough. And it's going to be thicker. It's not runny like cake batter. Okay. All right, so to my melted butter, I'm going to literally just kind of plop the stuff down. And again, like I was doing earlier, I like the quadrant thing because I'm kind of a math nerd. So we'll do like 1, 2, plop. Plop. I'll show you guys in a second. This is not meant to be like neat and precise and, not at all. It should look kind of messy and weird. All right. And the best thing about this is that because there's no eggs in this dough or mix or whatever you want to call it, you can eat it at the, like lick the spoon, and that's the best part, and I'm telling you, it's amazing. So now we got the peaches, and let me just show you so you can see. it doesn't look cute, and it does, you know, doesn't have to be perfect. And same thing with this. You kind of just literally just pour it on. Pour it on top. And then what I do is I kind of, you know, you do a little dance and kind of swirl it around, make sure there's, you know, the peaches have kind of gone all over the place. Then we're going to pop it in the oven. And then I'm going to tell you guys the story behind this recipe. BRB. All right. Okay. So again, if you have an amazing oven like Maria does, I would keep an eye on the pie cobbler starting at like 50 minutes because it can brown really quickly. But if you have a New York City oven like I do, it's going in for an hour. Just saying. All right, so because we're on Food Network, we have the finished product. So again, you are looking for the top with like a honey golden brown hue. So I'm going to scoop out a piece. Okay. Don't worry, my hands are clean. I know you guys are judging me. I can feel it. All right. So now, I mean, what pie or cobbler is good without ice cream? Let's just be honest. So this is butter pecan, which actually goes perfectly with peaches. So I'm going to get a nice scoop, plop it on top of there. I mean, come on. So the funny thing about this recipe is that it was originally made, Maria was mentioning cherries, but she made her recipe with fresh cherries, you know, like really fresh cherries where you have to take the stem off, de-seed it. Yeah, all of that. A lot of work. The original recipe is made with canned red tart cherries that are not in syrup. So that's why you add the 1 cup of sugar. So the recipe actually came from my mom's high school boyfriend's mother. And it's seriously, I would say top 5 desserts and I've ever had in my life. And I've been a lot of places and I've eaten a lot of food and this is just unbelievable. And the cool thing is that I've taken this recipe and instead of, you know, only using the canned cherries, I measured it out, fruit versus liquid. So I was able to use nectarines, peaches, anything seasonal. Plums. You need, sure, 1 1/4 cup of fruit, 2.5 tablespoons of water, a cup of sugar. So you can do it with all kinds of things. So thank you, Mrs. Reister. Yeah, this is a good one, you guys. So please enjoy.